always something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
It is, and welcome to it as we kick off another brand new hour here. 3 more hours to go here today. Glad you're here. Fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom. Always makes me ask, who do you want in your foxhole? I mean, it gets dicey out there. Who's going to be shoulder to shoulder with you when it's important? Great question to answer every day. Here are 3 big things you need to know. Number 1, a former mega Democrat donor and billionaire has dumped the left and is now giving his full-throated support to President Trump and begging for the National Guard to be sent to San Francisco. I'll have that. Number 2, Dominion voting systems. It's been sold, if you didn't know. The machines used in 27 states. It's been sold to a MAGA millionaire who supports paper ballots. Listen to the Democrats howl about this one. And number 3, the liberal white woman. The liberal white woman is the real threat to American civilization today. Are you shocked to hear that? Well, it's true, and I can prove it. The liberal white woman is an American citizen who has benefited from all that America has to offer, everything. A civilization that respects women and protects them, built on the nuclear family, built on the principles of rewarding good behavior and punishing bad behavior and keeping them safe. And yet the liberal white woman rejects it all. She seems to hate America, hates the principles that built this great nation, cannot be reasoned with, and she's raising kids, if she has them, to feel the same, to be ashamed of this great country we live in that raised her. Liberal white women are completely unhinged from reality, spending too much time online, reading about white privilege and male privilege and The Handmaid's Tale, and a host of other narratives that have convinced them to embrace bigotry and hateful attitudes dressed up as compassion. Liberal white women have been persuaded to side with terrorists and believe that they're morally superior for all of us. Yeah, Exhibit A, out in deep blue Northern Virginia. Listen to this.
I have read it extensively, and you're not following it. Take my picture. Would you like my name?
Yes.
You and ICE and Trump. There's my picture. Enjoy that. I am Antifa, by the way. You're looking for the leader, right here. Leader of Antifa. Film away. What are you going to do? Post it?
She seems nice. How lovely. But trust me, it gets worse. Much worse than that. All over the country, these deranged women are spreading their hate while simultaneously calling U.S., the United States, and the rest of us hateful ones. Here's Exhibit B. Listen to this.
Good morning and you, MAGA. You. I hate you all. I you guys. You are the biggest embarrassment in this country. Other countries are laughing at us, except for the ones who are dying because of us. Because of you. I hate you, MAGA. I hate you so much. You are hateful. You are uneducated. Unless you're rich and racist.
I hate you, MAGA, because you're hateful. Got it. That's what liberal white women believe about conservatives, about half of their fellow neighbors and citizens, that they're racist, rich, uneducated, and the laughing stock of the world. This is a method of thinking peculiar to the white liberal woman, that America is just the worst, but not them. You see, they don't count themselves as American. They're somehow better than the rest of their fellow citizens for one reason. They hate them. Of course, it makes no sense. Nothing they believe seems to make much sense. They've been convinced that because conservatives don't want babies killed inside the womb, that the big bad conservatives are either all women's rights, after all women's rights. I mean, that's what the celebrities are telling them. Celebrities like actress Kira Sedgwick, who's scared from her ivory tower behind the security of her gated community that comes complete with armed guards. She's scared. Kevin Bacon's wife, here she is.
I'm finding myself pretty scared about a lot of things, scared about losing my rights as a woman, scared about losing my right to vote as a woman, scared about losing autonomy over my body as a woman, scared of my parents' social security checks, scared of food banks running out of food and not being able to replenish because they're no longer getting federal funding. Yes, the federal government can use improvement, and there's a lot of things that they've done right over the decades. So I think the answer to being freaked out for me is about community, and I feel excited that we're coming together as a nation on Saturday. You can look it up in your area. It's Hands Off March.
Be for real. You're not scared about food banks. You probably have a personal chef. You're worth tens of millions of dollars. Why don't you just open your own food bank, Kira? No one's coming for your right to vote, but logic doesn't work with these folks. Fear-mongering is the order of the day, or the disorder of the day. These are the same women who are afraid to walk alone at night, but who sign petitions to release certain violent criminals from jail because they're black or brown, and then encourage all their social media followers to do the same. They want to ride the subway in safety, but they won't admit that it's not racist to keep violent criminals in jail, something that would have saved Irina Zaruska's life, by the way. Why are white liberal women playing the race card more than anyone? Take this exchange, for example. Listen.
This sign is racist.
No, it's not. He was supposed to be in jail. He was supposed because this would be the same if he was white. He was released from jail when he was supposed to have a mental evaluation because of these policies, and then he killed Irina Zaruska because of policies implemented by BLM.
A murder. A murder. You're making it about this? Really?
It's political.
She was murdered.
It's political because this person was released from jail after violent offenses because of politics.
I agree it's political. I don't believe that it's BLM's fault. That's fucking insane.
Right. Okay.
That's fucking
because
insane.
you don't agree with it, and that's fine. You don't have to agree with it. But you haven't made a case. You haven't made a case to the counter.
But your opinion is stupid.
Okay, so show me why it's stupid. Challenge it.
I literally just told you. Your entire basis of your opinion, you are using you are like.
So your argument is that I'm racist and that's it.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's not challenging my logic. It's not an argument.
Like I said, they cannot be reasoned with. These are the same white women who marched during BLM and yelled at black police officers for being part of the problem, remember? Even going so far as to call them racist. I'm not kidding. Remember this?
You're white and you're telling this to two black police officers.
Yeah.
Do you see the problem with that a little bit?
No, I don't, because you know what? Just because I'm white and I haven't experienced racism myself doesn't mean I can't fight for justice. They're a part of the system. They're a part of the problem. Just because they're black doesn't mean they're not a part of the problem. I'm allowed to say this to whoever. Because I'm white, racism is a white person's problem. Racism is my problem. I need to fix it. That's why I'm here talking to all of them. Black, white, brown, purple.
Shrill is the word that comes to mind. Shrill. I've got a message for white liberal women when I come back as we dig deeper into this psychosis, into this mental illness. Don't worry. I'll continue to sort it out for you after the break. Good morning. It's the Steve Gruber Show. All right, white liberal women. All right. This message is for you. You're not saving the black community. You're not. Don't just take my word for it. Listen to this woman who says it's so much better and with so much more authority than I do. Listen.
White liberals, you are not saving the black community. You are holding us back. It's not allyship, it's enabling. You excuse destructive choices, you lower the bar, you hand out sympathy instead of standards, and you call that progress. Here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. We're not the only group with a painful past. We built an entire system around the lie that black people can't compete, and we call it justice. DEI, affirmative action, safe spaces, watered down schools, and even lighter sentences for crime. That's not empowerment, that's soft bigotry dressed up as compassion, and it's all causing more harm than good to the black community. It whispers you're too weak, too damaged, too broken to do this on your own, and we've accepted that lie for far too long. We don't need your pity.
We don't need your pity. Well said, but these women don't actually listen to black women, certainly if they're conservative, or if it doesn't feed into their savior complex. You see, they're only interested in being the heroes in their own made-up story inside their bubbles with make-believe facts. They're only interested in living in the past, a past they never lived through. It's like California, a state that never even had slavery, granting reparations to black people who were never slaves with money taken from white people who never owned slaves. Why are we so stuck in the past? It's not good for anyone. Here's another woman who says the exact same thing. Listen.
The white liberal has, well, white guilt. They live in the past, and they want black people to stay in the past. Oh, you poor slaves. We remember when we were whipping you on the plantation, and we have so much guilt now. We want to help you now. We want to give you welfare. No, no, no. Black people don't go get jobs. No, how dare you? Why would you? We want to fight for your right to be in poverty for the rest of your lives. We know that your kids don't know how to use computers, none of them. And as a result, none of y'all know how to get driver's license so that you can vote. Yeah, white liberals are stuck in the past.
Stuck in the past. Well, when you put it like that, it doesn't sound near as compassionate as they think, now does it? The white liberal woman has been brainwashed into ignoring all common sense for whatever cause is popular online. It's why we see so many white liberal women defending Hamas, for example, a terrorist organization that does unspeakable things to women, including raping them and burning them and their babies alive. These women say they're scared to lose their right to abortion and then go out and march for a group that literally rapes and kills women. Here's an example.
You support Hamas? I surely do. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I?
A terrorist organization?
Yes, yes.
That chucks gays off buildings?
Oh, yes, yes, yes. And what about all the fucking Zionists? The terrible Zionists?
Yeah. Hamas killed every single female hostage they had left, by the way. Every single one. Why? So they couldn't tell the world what these monsters did to them, and yet liberal white women spend their weekends defending them. These women have compassion for the wrong people. They've allowed white guilt to completely undermine their truth and their minds. Conservative activist Allie Beth Stuckey calls it toxic empathy. She educated a bunch of liberals on it in a debate this week. Here's part of it.
That empathy can be toxic and lead to sin. So if I feel so deeply how someone feels that I end up validating a lie, telling them something that's not true to make them feel better, or affirming what God calls sin, or I would argue if it leads us to support destructive policies that are bad for the individual, bad for society, then your empathy has led you to a really dangerous place, even if you started with good intentions.
Now, does the white liberal woman have good intentions? Maybe, but today the white liberal woman is emerging as one of the greatest threats to American civilization because she's completely thrown in with the worst of the worst. Antifa, Hamas, illegal aliens, violent criminals, rapists, baby killers, and the like. There it is. You have been warned. Look, you can find examples every single day on social media of things like I played for you here today. It's frightening, isn't it? It's frightening. Did you know that most methylene blue being sold online is the same grade used in fish tanks? Fish tanks. Watch out for low-quality bottles that are untested for heavy metals and made overseas. But here's what you can do. You can trust the wellness company's Recharge, a doctor-formulated supplement combining powdered methylene blue with NAD+ and PQQ. This methylene blue is USP grade, ensuring top-tier purity for maximum safety and effectiveness. Not the sketchy stuff you find on Amazon or for your fish tank, for that matter. Recharge is formulated with research-backed ingredients to optimize brain function and cellular repair while supporting clean, lasting energy. Tap into cognitive and metabolic support that helps you stay energized, focused, and resilient all day long. Choose a trusted formula made for your body, not for fish tanks, all right? Feel the difference with enhanced mental clarity, sustained energy, sharper focus, and protection against cognitive decline. And no, it won't turn your tongue blue. As a bonus, your tongue doesn't turn blue. All you have to do, go to twc.health/Gruber, get the code Gruber. You'll save 10% plus free shipping. Again, that's twc.health/Gruber, and use the code Gruber. You'll get 10% off and free shipping. And by the way, the wellness company has a whole variety of items to help you, no matter what your goals are. You want a parasite cleanse? We've got it. You want great supplements? We've got it. You want to deal with the spike protein of COVID? They've got it. Gold standard on all of these things. Dr. Peter McCullough and his team have put together the best of the best for all of you. For all of you. All right. Remarkably, Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken came out on social media yesterday to take credit for the Gaza peace deal. It is remarkable. Anthony Blinken, a guy that Senator John McCain warned us about that should never be in government because he was truly dangerous. And, well, he is. Just another example of those taking credit for something they didn't do. Good morning. It's the Steve Gruber Show. I'm glad to have you along. Speaker Mike Johnson says that we're barreling toward the biggest and longest shutdown in American history because the Democrats continue to make demands. And he says he will not negotiate with Democrats until they hit pause on their health care demands and reopen the government. Look, you have until the end of the year to discuss health care and extensions to the subsidies to Obamacare, which, by the way, the Republicans already said they were willing to do for a year while they negotiate better solutions. Obamacare is a failure. The Affordable Care Act was never affordable, had little to do with care. It was an insurance scheme. Look at these folks. They enrich themselves at your expense and then sit there on high trying to claim that they're trying to protect Americans to keep health insurance. The rates were going up as they have every year. Ask me. Trust me. We pay for our own insurance here. The premiums go up dramatically every single year, and to the point that it's almost impossible to deal with. You know that, so do I. So let's bring to a close the government shutdown and open the government, and then close in on a deal for how we can actually take care of people in this country when it comes to health care. How about that? All right. Here's something for you. Did you feel the chill in the air? Was it cold on the way in today, Anthony? Was it cold? Was it chilly?
It was chilly.
Chilly. You know what that means? Muskox season. That's right. Did you wear yours today, Anthony? About time.
I was in a T-shirt. It was. I wish I had it. I wish I wore it.
Yeah, see? You didn't plan ahead. Brand new flannels for fall at gomuskox.com. You got it. Rated the best flannel by Gear Junkie ever since 2023. Made from the softest, double-brushed, 100% cotton. Every flannel sold donates $5 to wildlife conservation. We have been real believers here for, 5 years now? Everybody loves the Muskox flannel. It's the best flannel shirts you're ever going to own. It's an American company based in Detroit. And look, we know something about being chilled up here. We know something about winter, and when it's 35 and the humidity's high and you just get that chill, you need a Muskox flannel or 2 or 3. Great gift, too, by the way. GoMuskox.com. GoMuskox.com, and you use the promo code Gruber. You're going to save $15 on every one, and you will thank me. GoMuskox.com, promo code Gruber. All right, welcome back to it. Glad to have you here as we plow through a beautiful Tuesday here. Yes, fall weather is in the air. So much to cover every single day. You know, with everything that President Trump has done recently, it is a busy news cycle to say the least. Also, We are concerned every day about what's going on with the markets. Gold at 4,100, almost 4,200. Silver broke $52 an ounce. Concerns me about the value of the dollar, way too weak. John Tamney joining me. He's the president of the Parkview Institute and editor of Real Clear Markets. John, thank you for being back.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you refer to something as deficit delusion, while everything left, right, and supply side tells you about the national debt is wrong. Okay, we're at $37.5 trillion of debt. It will never be repaid. I don't see how it's even possible. We pay $1.2 trillion in interest now. What's wrong about what people say about the national debt? Those things are right, are they not?
Well, it's certainly right that we have the $37 trillion in debt, but the surest sign it's going to be paid back is that we have so much debt. Money's ruthless. Think of any business of any size. It is so much work to get money, to get financial backing. And so to pretend that a government could just borrow $37 trillion from investors who willing to get no return or not get it back, no, they're going to get it back. And to me, that's the scandal. The scandal is Americans are so overtaxed, particularly the rich, that paying back $37 trillion and paying it back at really low rates of interest is a foregone conclusion.
Really? And that has never happened in my lifetime. My entire life, I think the debt was $900 billion when Ronald Reagan was in office. Now it's almost $38 trillion. How are we going to pay it back? Just print money and make our money worthless?
Well, but if we were printing money, we wouldn't have the debt because no one would lend to us. And they wouldn't lend to us because the dollars that treasuries pay out would be worthless. I mean, doesn't it make sense that when we had that it was much more expensive to borrow in 1980, 11%, when we had just $900 billion in debt? Yeah, the markets did not trust the U.S.'s future nearly as much before Reagan was president as they did after. And so it's no surprise, politicians exist to spend money. Reagan presided over a booming economy. Isn't it logical that the nation that was booming and that Bill Clinton's, what was his presidency called, Reagan's third term, that borrowing would continue after that and after that and after that to this day? We're the richest country on earth. I'm not defending the borrowing. I'm not defending the spending. I'm saying it's a tragedy, but it's a function of too much tax revenue, not too little.
We bring in a new record of tax income and revenue every single year, year after year. We set new records, don't we? And yet the debt continues to go up. So I'll be honest with you, John, you've lost me a little bit. If we continue to have record revenue and the debt continues to push forward, when and where will we pay it back?
Well, because markets are a look ahead. They're never a look at the present. Why doesn't Russia have a lot of debt? Russia's got total debt of $300 billion, yet we've got $37 trillion. Is Vladimir Putin secretly a classical thinker like you and me, where he views government spending properly as a tax? No, the markets just don't trust Russia's future. The markets, on the other hand, look at our future and they say $37 trillion is nothing relative to the amount of money that's going to come into the U.S. Treasury in the coming decades. We quite literally are on the verge of one-man companies that will be worth $1 billion in the age of AI and beyond and beyond. Think of the tax revenues that are going to come in the future. $37 trillion is pretty small relative to what we're going to collect in the future. Again, I say that's sad. Because think of all the amazing things, all the amazing advances we could oversee if government weren't taking in so much money. But the markets are telling us fairly explicitly that Treasury's collections today are small relative to what they will be.
So you're saying that they're going to jack up taxes massively in an attempt to deal with debt, which, of course, cripples everybody. Because, the government will go out there, John, and say, look at this beautiful bridge we built, as an example. Look at this incredible bridge we built. But nobody ever discusses what the trade-off was. That money in private hands almost always undoubtedly does better, bigger things than money in government hands because government is so inefficient. Where am I wrong?
Well, by definition, it does. Because with government, bad ideas live forever. In the private sector, bad ideas fail, and they fail quickly, and then we move on to better things, and we release the good things to better hands, and they use them better. I am not saying taxes are going up. What I'm saying is that even if we reduced taxes, if we reduced the tax rate, the Americans of the future are going to get so rich that even at lower rates, tax revenues are going to go up, up, up. And to me, that's the big danger. Everyone's talking about tax rates. Everyone's talking about deficits. The markets keep telling us the deficits will easily be paid back. So the real crisis is what you're talking about. What are all the advances that will not take place because the government is such a size collector of tax revenue now and will be in the future, hence the ability of Treasury to run up so much debt?
Well, look, here's my concern. I use Greece as a model every time. When Greece had its debt crisis a decade ago, whatever it's been, they came in, anybody had more than $1 million in a savings account, they took half. If you had a retirement account, they took half. If you don't think that can happen in America, I think you're kidding yourself. And that
I'm not saying it.
Go ahead.
I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just saying the markets don't think it will happen. And you and I think, would agree that the markets are just a reflection of reality. They're a collection of all known information. We've seen since Reagan got into office, borrowing costs for Treasury go down as deficits went up. What is that? That is a market signal saying that we haven't come close to our ability to take in revenue. But I think it's going to be just because rich people will blithely pay 30% of what is a massive number. To me, that's unfortunate. To me, the biggest problem in the U.S. today is that Jeff Bezos pays so much in taxes. Because, see, to me, it's a tax on me, too. It means that the government's going to grow, grow, grow. But I don't think Greece is apt, because if you look at Greece, Greek Americans are nothing like the people in Greece itself. The U.S. is full of the most productive people on earth. Of course, it's heavily in debt when you consider the politicians who have taxable access to all this American productivity.
So give me your prediction. We got about a minute here. Not quite. What's your prediction then? Will we pay off the national debt? What's the timetable? What's the future?
Not in our lifetime, but not for the reasons you might think. We're not going to pay it back because the U.S. is viewed as the safest loan on earth. And it's the safest loan on earth because we're full of people like Henry Ford and, in the past, Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg in the present, and other geniuses in the future. And so my prediction, I've already made it, is that in 10 years, the national debt will be quite a bit larger, but the borrowing costs for the U.S. Treasury will be quite a bit smaller. As in, the markets are growing more and more confident that the U.S. will be able to pay back the debt. Again, I think that's unfortunate, but I think that's what the markets are telling us.
John Tamny, president of Parkview Institute, editor, Real Clear Markets. There's something for you to consider. John, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Really appreciate it. When we come back, we're going to talk more about the economy with Nick Hopwood, president and founder of Peak Wealth Management. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. right, back to it. I keep watching these things, and we talk about this pretty regularly with Nick Hopwood. He's the president and founder of Peak Wealth Management. Joining me now, we talk about the economy. Nick, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Steve.
I keep looking, and I'm just going to get you a quick overview. Gold is now almost $4,200 an ounce. I mean, it's gone up $500 in a month. Indicates a pretty weak dollar. Silver at $52, setting all-time record highs, as has gold recently. The market had some big booms, a couple of retracing, but really, whether it's gold or the markets, crypto was up there big for a bit. Then a lot of people took money, so we had a bit of a crash. I expect it's going to come back too. A lot of good news out there, but are those red flags as well?
There are, and I want to bring up gold, as you mentioned. Your last guest, John, he was talking about how the market is betting on the U.S. and allowing us to have these debts, right? I want to draw an analogy, right? If your mother is 300 pounds overweight and she's feeding you cake for breakfast, that's kind of like the analogy that comes to mind with it's okay to keep having more debt. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it plays into this gold because with the debts, with the dollar falling, gold is in dollar terms, so the price of gold continues to go up, right? This is the symptom here that we're seeing as a result of the deficits, and it could trickle into other areas. Now, as far as buying gold, it's gone parabolic. So my suggestion, I should say not my suggestion, but my feelings are we probably could have a pullback, and that would be a better time to consider it.
To buy gold, that is. I agree with you.
Yeah.
The bull market we're in just turned 3 years old, you said. How does this compare to other markets over the last 60, 80 years? The first time I came here with you, meaning about the first time you showed up here is when this all started. Where are we, historically speaking?
Yeah, I want to thank you for having me on for the last 3 years. But basically, that's when the market hit its low in 22. So we're 3 years into this new bull market. The average length of a bull market is about 5.5 years. So we're just starting year 4. And just so you know, the average in year 4 is typically 14%, and it's typically higher 85% of the time. So the statistics are pretty good in our favor here. And so far, we've had an 89% return during this bull market. But look, the last 11 bull markets have averaged over 190%. So we're not even halfway as compared to, the last 11 bull markets.
So 14% plus based on mathematical averages. Why? Why does that happen? Why is year 4 another good year? 14% plus. I think everybody listening that has an investment would take that happily. I would. Why does it keep happening?
Yeah, I would absolutely take 14%. So I think part of it is earnings. We talked about this last time I was on. Earnings are continuing to grow. Over the last year, they're up double digits. And that's, in my opinion, the most important thing. But secondly, we've had, these animal spirits, right? Where we've had, it's called multiple expansion, where yes, profits are higher, but the market is growing by more than the profits. And that's what cannot continue. But we do have those animal spirits now, and it can continue.
I wondered what that was when I woke up today. Apparently it was my animal spirit. And now I know. Thank you for clearing that up. Look, I just mentioned this, the crypto markets. Took what'd you call it, a flash crash, I think is what you called it. The crypto bros who used extreme leverage, man, they got crushed by playing games. When you play games, you're playing in dangerous territory, aren't you?
You are. And on Friday after the Trump tweet, the S&P went down 3%, which is a pretty terrible day for the stock market. But the coins, the crypto market, was way worse. Bitcoin was down in the neighborhood of 10%, but the altcoins down 20% to 80%. And it just goes to show, if you're going to be in the crypto market, you want to be in the higher quality assets, especially if you're considering your risk tolerance. But a lot of these guys got completely wiped out because of the amount of leverage that they were using. In a brokerage account, you can only use a certain amount of leverage. It's highly regulated. But in crypto, it's much different. You can be leveraged worse than Bear Stearns back in 2007. And so when you have a flash crash in Friday's nature, they get completely wiped out. They get liquidated, kind of like a margin call. but it happens so quick that there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, and if you put your money on the gambling table, these things can happen in the Wild West. I just saw an update to the gift tax for the coming year. $19,000 means I can give anybody $19,000. There's no tax implication to them or to me, correct?
That's correct. It's $19,000, and people often are confused about what this means. They ask me, "Well, if I give my son $19,000, or more than $19,000, does he have to pay tax on it, or do I have to pay tax?" And the answer is no. No one is paying any tax. In fact, it's tied to your estate tax exemption of $15 million per person. So the reality is, if you give your son $20,000 instead of $19,000, you've taken $1,000 away from your $15 million lifetime exemption. So it's really nothing for most people, that is.
Right.
And you can also, let's say, Steve, you and Ivy are married and your son is married.
Yep.
You can give 19 to your son, 19 to your daughter-in-law. Ivy can give 19 to your son and 19 to your daughter-in-law for a total of $76,000 per year. So this can be compounding over the years if you do it right.
I'm glad they're not listening. I'm glad they're not listening. By the way, let's get that QR code up there if we could, or you can go to peakwm.com. Nick, as a listener to this program, will provide you a free beneficiary IRA analysis. The new inherited IRA rules are tricky, causing a lot of confusion and headaches for people, especially when it comes to taxes. So don't let your inherited IRA push you into the 37% tax bracket. Don't let that happen. Protect your money. No lazy money with Nick Hopwood. That's the way it has to be. No lazy money. That's what we call it here with Nick Hopwood. Nick, thank you as always.
Thank you, Steve.
And take advantage of this with Nick. It's free. He can tell you how you're looking. How is this IRA working for me, for my kids that want $76,000 a year, or whatever it might be. All right? peakwm.com, or click on that QR code, a free analysis from Nick Hopwood. I'll be right back. All right, so Dominion voting systems, the infamous Dominion voting systems, right? They have been sold, if you didn't know, used in 27 states. They were purchased by Scott Leyendecker. Scott Leyendecker. He's a former Republican elections director in St. Louis. He has changed the name of the company to Liberty Vote. He's a believer in paper ballots. So that would really be something, wouldn't it? 100% American owned as of today. Dominion is gone, he wrote. What does that mean? Election security? Potentially. Liberty Vote signals a new chapter for American elections, one where trust is rebuilt from the ground up, said Leyendecker. Liberty Vote committed to delivering election technology that prioritizes paper-based transparency. There you have it, folks. Did you know that? You know, I mentioned that to somebody else yesterday. They said, I never heard that. A guy that should know. A guy that should be aware that had no idea because of everything going on. They missed the idea that Dominion voting has been sold. So there you have it. Are you tired of taking vitamins that don't seem to work? Protovite, a breakthrough liquid formula designed to absorb quickly so your body actually uses it. It's what we use around here. Ivy found these vitamins. She fell in love with them. When we say multivitamin, we really mean it. 100 nutrients, B vitamins, amino acids, zinc, plant extracts. You get daily support for energy, focus, immune health, only from Victory Nutrition International, VNI. Nutrition that gets in. Start your mornings with Protovite and feel the difference. Get 20% off at vni.life/Gruber. The promo code's Gruber. Look, we talk about health here all the time. This company has more research, more science backing their product than any vitamin we've ever found. They only make 6 products. They don't have, 12,000 items. They have 6. You're going to be pleased with this. Go to Victory Nutrition International. That's vni.life/Gruber. You'll save 20% right now with the best vitamins you're ever going to have. Trust me, it's what has us fired up every day. We'll have more on the Steve Gruber Show in just a moment. always something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
It sure is, and I'm glad to have you here for the conversation, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom every single day. Who is it you want in your foxhole? Who is it you want standing shoulder to shoulder with you? Important question you have to ask every day because sometimes it changes. Here are three big things you need to know. Number one, Dominion voting system sold 27 states, sold to a MAGA millionaire who supports paper ballots. Listen to the Democrats howl about this one. I've been talking about it. We'll talk more. Number two, the peace holding so far in the Gaza peace plan brokered by President Trump. The last living 20 hostages released and the deal signed in Egypt, but can it last? And number three, the government shutdown, now 2 weeks old, and it's still going. So is the finger pointing, full swing. They keep blaming each other. And here's the thing. Speaker Johnson says, no, we're not going to negotiate. We didn't put anything in it. It's a clean CR, a clean continuing resolution to fund the government. No end in sight. Doesn't seem the Democrats are the only ones that can end the shutdown. They refuse to even discuss a clean continuing resolution. And when I say it's the Democrats, it takes 60 votes. Civics, man. It takes 60 votes to get it through. And so when the Democrats are saying that, well, the Republicans have the Senate, the House, and the White House, they should get this done. It's the Democrats holding the Senate and therefore America hostage. You see, there was an election last November. You might have heard about it. Donald Trump won. And the Republicans controlled the House. And the Republicans took back control of the Senate by several seats, but they didn't get 60. So the Democrats are lying about this one. They're trying to get an upper hand on this, and all they're doing is punishing ordinary Americans. Senator Chris Murphy gets caught being a raging hypocrite and a sleaze about the government shutdown. I think that's the best word. Listen to this.
In the past of the tactic of choosing to shut down the government. You were in 2018, you were back in 2013 when it was a discussion over health care. This is what you said in 2018.
The future of the American healthcare system was a legitimate public policy issue, as is the security of our borders. But we shouldn't be having the discussion amidst a government shutdown, trying to use our nation's security and all of these federal workers and the work that they do as hostages.
Aren't you doing today exactly what you were criticizing then?
No, that was a fight over sort of the long term.
Yeah. Aren't you just lying through your teeth? Yeah, lying through your teeth. Well, there you go. How about J.D. Vance says the Democrats have to end the shutdown while real Americans are paying the price. He says we have to get to this. Here he is.
The main thing that we're focused on, Margaret, is ensuring essential services remain open. And obviously, in a government shutdown, we have limited funds to work with because the appropriations that keep the government running have not been made. That's thanks to Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. So we're trying to do everything that we can to ensure that low-income women and children get the food services that they need. We're trying to make sure that we pay our troops because that matters for national security. We also want our people to get their paychecks. That's where we've been focused. And unfortunately, what that does mean, Margaret, is that some federal bureaucrats are going to have to get laid off. This is not a situation that we're excited about. We want the government to reopen, but Chuck Schumer and the Democrats decided to shut down the government, and we have to deal with the consequences in the administration, so that's what we're doing.
And so that's what we're doing. Meanwhile, I'm back to the other, we're just going back and forth here. The finger pointing, the blame game, that's what's happening right now. Hakeem Jeffries gets called out for lying about spending in the government shutdown. Here's that tidbit for you. Listen to this.
Well, first of all, we don't view the current bill as anything other than a partisan Republican spending bill that continues to gut the health care of the American people.
It's at levels that you guys have already agreed to. A number of Democrats voted for this extension back in March. It's not adding or detracting anything. It's just continuing the levels of spending that currently exist.
Actually, it's not at levels that we agreed to. Democrats strongly oppose this legislation in the House because, in our view, it gut veterans' health care. gut funding for women, infants, and children programming, gut funding for affordable housing, and we know we have a housing crisis in this country. Housing costs are too high.
Just to be clear, though,
and
it's
gut
not
funding
changing
for healthcare.
It's not changing current levels. Nothing's getting cut. It's at levels that you may not like, but it's about extending levels as they currently exist. Fair?
Right. We agree that current spending levels are unacceptable.
Yeah. So there you have it. He gets caught. The levels are the same as they've been. Same as they were in March when Chuck Schumer said, don't shut down the government. That'd be a bad idea. Back to Speaker Johnson calling out Chuck Schumer for lying about Republicans being able to open the government. Here it is.
Chuck Schumer is incapable of telling the truth right now. I mean, he's been in Congress for 44 years, Shannon. I mean, almost half a century. He knows this is basic civics. Every 8th grade civics student can point out the fallacy in what he just said. It requires 60 votes in the Senate to get this through. We only have 53 Republicans. We've got to have a handful of Democrats in the Senate who apply common sense and agree to reopen the government so that we can continue all these discussions. As you pointed out to Hakeem Jeffries, this is a clean continuing resolution. What that means for folks back home is it's exactly the same levels of spending. By the way, it's Biden-era policies and spending, which we loathe. But we're trying to get through the appropriations process to change that and fix it for the country, and they ran out of time because the end of the fiscal year, September 30th, we just need 7 more weeks to finish it. And right now, they're eating up the clock. They're doing this for political cover. Chuck Schumer, when he voted for the exact same measure back in March, took a lot of heat from the left of his party, and he doesn't want to sustain that any longer. So he's doing this and inflicting pain for his own selfish reasons.
Yeah, for his own selfish reasons. By the way, it is Charlie Kirk's birthday. He would have been 32 years old today. Charlie Kirk would have been 32 today. Instead, he was gunned down and murdered in public in front of 3,000 kids on the 10th of September. Utah Valley University. Yeah, there you have it. There you have it. Look, let me ask you, when was the last time you woke up feeling truly energized, ready to go? Well, I've got a product here for you that, I'm in love with this product. I am. Longevity Wellness. Their nutritional shake mix is built with protein, collagen, omega-3s, even bovine colostrum to support your gut, joints, and brain. No gimmicks. It's just clean, science-backed ingredients that help you feel stronger every single day. Start your mornings with longevity. All you have to do is go to longevitywellness.co/Gruber. longevitywellness.co/Gruber. You use the promo code Gruber. You'll save 10% on your order today. And here's the thing. If you're on a GLP-1 or any other weight loss program, you don't want to lose muscle mass. You don't want to lose bone density. This is a complete nutrition shake. And for my kid, by the way, he drinks this before he goes to football practice. Sometimes when he gets back, he loves this. I think they're great, by the way. I put a couple of ice cubes in it when I stir it up. Boom. It's like having a chocolate shake. It really is great. And I like the chocolate, strawberry, vanilla. This is a great product. Again, we've been doing our research. We're going to be sharing something else with you here soon, which is an intense workout program. Maybe you're in, maybe you're out. But we are all about health. We need you to be healthy. Back during World War II, it was all about posters for health. You have to stay healthy to fight for America. I believe that is true again today. longevitywellness.co/Gruber. Promo code Gruber, you'll save 10% on your order today. longevitywellness.co. All right, I'll take a break and be right back. It's the Steve Gruber Show. How much you paying for gas? It's a big indicator of what the inflation rate is in America. What are you paying for gas right now? Gas prices are tumbling. If you hadn't noticed, I'm paying well under $3 now, most places where I am. The national average, 307. Down from 308 yesterday, down from 312 a week ago, 317 a month ago, and 320 a year ago. So gas prices historically less expensive than they've been in a long time. Even California could almost afford gas at $4.65, almost, that is. Ray R.T. Trevino, oil and gas expert, joining me now. He runs Pecos Country Energy. It's a privately owned oil and gas exploration production company in Fort Worth, Texas. That's right, he's a Texas oil man. R.T., how are you today?
Oh, good morning, Steve. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. AAA here says gas prices continue to fall, and they could stay on that trajectory. What are you seeing? What are you feeling?
Yes, right now what we are seeing are the effects of below $60 oil about 2 weeks ago. Keep in mind, as I've said before, that the price of oil is always dictated, or the price of gasoline is always dictated about 2 weeks behind the price of oil, whether that's West Texas Intermediate or Brent. However, right now, currently, as the market is closed, we are still trading below $60 a barrel at this time. And a lot of that is due to the creation of certainty around the world. The Israel-Hamas treaty, the historic landmark ceasefire agreement, has brought certainty to the world, and we're going to see those effects at the price of oil, as we all know at this time.
Yeah, so all right, so right now, West Texas Intermediate, $58.05. I mean, that's the cheapest I've seen it in quite a while. I mean, it surged there for a while into the 70s a few weeks back, but nowhere near that. Now, Brent crude at $61.88, the benchmark. So we're at low oil prices. How much lower can it go? With this stability, with the deal signed in Egypt yesterday to bring the warring factions to the peace table in the Middle East, what's it mean?
Yes, make no doubt about it that this ceasefire only just significantly reduced the geopolitical risk premium that's always baked into the oil prices. What we're going to see probably is that $60 oil, maybe even a little bit lower. Keep in mind, President Trump has always been drill, baby, drill. And we are all about drill, baby, drill. We've only continued to not only produce oil in 2025, but also drill new oil wells. And for independents like Pecos, we're always looking for those legacy assets that have long-term stability. And with vertical wells that we drill, not the horizontals like the majors, we get that consistent cash flow and also lower operating expense. But keep in mind also that that most people in the oil and gas industry, they also don't vote. They vote with their policy and their beliefs and their convictions, because we all voted. I would say if you took a poll, that 80% of people out in the oil and gas industry voted for President Trump. They did it for what he stands for and not necessarily the price of oil. Because keep in mind, as you mentioned, we are below $60 right now, and that does somewhat hurt our industry. However, right now, we are still the number one producer in the world at almost 14 million barrels of oil a day, Steve, and we will continue to be the world's number one producer with this president.
All right, so let me look at something else I want to ask you about. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve is at about 402 million barrels as of the end of May 2025, and then prices went up. Would now be a good time. Full capacity is about 715 million barrels. Maybe it's time to restock our emergency energy reserves. What would you say to that?
Yes, absolutely. And that's great that you brought up the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. I just had a great opportunity to visit with Congressman Pat Harrigan, congressman from North Carolina, on a podcast that I do called The Crude Truth. And he said it best. He goes, you know what? Energy security is always part of national security. And that is something that we could see President Trump do as the price may get even lower, is work out a deal with the large independents and the majors to come up with a great price that we could fill up the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And Steve, keep in mind, in 2020, when President Trump was still in office, He tried to fill up the reserves when we were at $25 oil, but the Democrat-led Congress and Democrat-led Senate shot him down at that time to fill up the Strategic Petroleum Reserve.
So now's a good time. I mean, with oil below 60 and maybe, I mean, where do you see the price ending up a week from now, a month from now?
You know, we could see that 225. I know here in the great state of Texas, right now we're about 250 a gallon of gasoline. We could see 225, and we could even see $1.99, which would be something to really watch out for.
Yeah,
and another thing that, well, go ahead.
No, that'd be incredible. But I guess where are you seeing a price of oil in a week or a month or 6 months?
Well, right now, again, based on this ceasefire and also the U.S.-China tariffs that were threatened on Friday, can also see an initial drop and only add to that drop. Crude futures on Friday hit 5-month lows. So we could also see, because of this trade war with China, believe it or not, only continue to see the price of oil drop. So we could see, $55 oil here real soon, barring, God willing, no global catastrophe.
And $55 oil would mean a gallon of gas would cost 20 cents less, 30 cents less. What would it mean?
I could see that. Yes. Again, we are looking at about a $25 price on gas, or excuse me, a 25-cent deduction in the price of gasoline across the board. And also keep in mind that the independent oil and gas companies like Pecos, we are prepared to stay as lean as possible during this time so that the continued returns to our investors out there, we can get them.
There you go. RT, good news. Gentlemen, start your engines. It's going to be cheap. Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. It's good news, right? If gas is cheaper, it means groceries should moderate, ease prices for all Americans. All right, we're going to take a break and be right back. It is Steve Gruber Show. Well, here's another little bit of information that is a couple of things for you, a couple of tidbits for you. North Carolina, the Republicans have announced a redistricting plan to vote on a new House map. You see, when Gavin Newsom went to the well saying he was going to make things right because Texas said our maps are not right, so California is going to vote in November on redistricting, and they're going to try to steal 5 seats in the House. Okay, well, North Carolina thinks they can add 1 or 2. Indiana's going to add 1 or 2. Missouri's going to add 1 or 2. Texas, probably 5. Could be 6. So if California gets 5 and Texas gets 5, and then Indiana throws 1 in and Missouri throws 2 in and North Carolina throws... look at that. A net gain for the Republicans. You see, that's what happens when you start playing games and Republicans are like, we're not doing that anymore. All right, we're not doing that anymore. Let's see here. A majority of voters in a poll released yesterday agree that President Trump was right to deploy the National Guard in Chicago and Portland to defend immigration and customs enforcement agencies, defend federal agencies. People agree with him doing that. People agree with him doing that. And why wouldn't they? These are violent people, oftentimes. We saw the ICE facility shot up in Dallas, where they ended up killing the migrants, not the officers. Crazy, but true. Anyhow, majority of voters, according to Rasmussen, support the use of the National Guard to make the cities in America safer again. Look, something's holding you back as a business person or your business in general, and you can't quite figure it out. What if in just one phone call you could break the bottleneck? Have a clear custom plan. Look, I'm joining Grant Cardone. I want to give you exactly that, a free call. Plus, get expert advice and insights, proven strategies and systems you can use right now. Very simple to do. If you're a business owner, if you're in business, if you're in sales, you want to break the bottleneck, go to Gruber10x.com. Gruber10x.com. We haven't had many people respond to this. I don't know why. If you're in business, you want to improve your game, Gruber10x.com. And you can get on the road to making some real money. Gruber10x.com. I'll be right back. All right, diving back into it. I'm glad to have you. Look, it's a busy day every day here and so much to cover with, the president in the Middle East, and you've got oil prices coming down. You've got all these different things that are happening. every single day. It's a busy place around here, as you can imagine. We appreciate it that way. My next guest, Mike Zhao, is the chair of Chinese Americans for the Constitution, CAFC. Mike, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so we just talked about this. The state of North Carolina is now moving forward with redistricting. Apparently so is Indiana. Missouri might do the same, all in response to Gavin Newsom trying to redistrict California in an attempt to reduce the number of Republicans in the congressional delegation to 6 or 7 out of, 53, 54, something like that. The question is, what can be done to stop it? Can Chinese Americans stop this election gaming in California? I mean, it's gone on for years, but it would take it all the way down to less than 10% of Californians represented by Republicans, even though just over 40% vote for Republicans. Kind of crazy,
yes,
really.
Yes, you are exactly right. I believe Chinese American can make difference. At this moment, there are about 940,000 Chinese Americans living in California. Many of us suffered the communist rule. We suffered, in America, also we suffered the Gavin Newsom's radical left policies, and such as rising crime, work with DEIs, open board, welfare for illegal immigrants, and radical LGBT policies. So, we are motivated to help defeat the Proposition 50.
Yeah. All right. So what Proposition 50, isn't that what it's called in California? Proposition 50?
Yes, that is correct.
On the ballot November the 8th. It's not popular, though, from what I can tell. It doesn't seem that Prop 50 is getting the traction that Newsom had anticipated. It seems to be struggling because Democrats and mostly independents really don't like this plan much, do they?
No, as a matter of fact, in 2008 and also 2010 separately, California passed Proposition 8 and Proposition 10, all authorized congressional redistricting to the Independent Citizens Committee. Governor Newsom's his Proposition 50 is direct betrayal of the citizens' will in California. That's the reason they are not popular.
All right. So how does the Chinese population in California weigh in to defeat this proposition?
Yeah, basically we have over 1 million of Chinese Americans, but the registered voter over 940,000 takes up 4.2%, which is is a very significant number. One fact I want to point out, in 2020, Chinese American took the leadership. We defeated Proposition 16, which was a Democrat's attempt to restore the affirmative action in California. So we already have the experience how to defeat. And the Chinese Americans, many of us suffer from communist rule before. We know how bad a one-party system. California virtually is a one-party system. So what we need to do is educate more Chinese Americans and also all other Californians to come out to vote no against Proposition 50.
In fact, the San Francisco Chronicle came out and put out an article. Prop 50 is about protecting party power, not democracy. We don't live in a democracy, but if we did, that'd be interesting. So I'm wondering what the polling on it is exactly. That's what I'd like to know exactly. And your prediction right now, Mike, if the election were today, what do you think?
Current polling actually, Proposition 50 is in favor. However, that is, we have 3 weeks, before the election. Also, many voters, if we educate enough voters, I believe we can change the tide.
Yeah, I can't find any Prop 50 polling, so I'm a little confused, but there it is. All right, I give you the last word here, Mike. I hope that you guys can fill the void and stop this from happening. I hope you can, but I'll give you the last word.
Yeah, I want all the Californians to vote for no, not vote no for Proposition 50. I also want the people nationwide come to our website to support us. It's caforconstitution.org. Donate to us, support us, will make a difference.
Mike, really appreciate it. Proposition 50, November 8. They will decide in California whether they're going to ignore the Independent Election Commission, that's the law, and violate their own laws to protect Democrat power. Sir, thank you for being here.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Really appreciate it. There you have it. All right. As the war in Gaza has come to an end, Donald Trump refusing to rule out hitting Venezuela. He wants these drug cartels brought to their knees. A lot of people agree with that as well. President Trump launching an unprecedented war against cartels and has told narco terrorists, look, he'll blow you out of existence. And his administration seeks to curb the influx of drugs in the United States. Look, we have 100,000 people in this country that die from illegal drug overdoses, maybe higher. Depends on who you ask. The White House sent lawmakers a memo September 30 saying that the U.S. now participating in non-international armed conflict with smugglers, on top of conducting 4 fatal strikes against drug boats running drugs in the Caribbean since September. The Department of War recently announced a new counter-narcotics joint task force in the Southern Command area of responsibility, according to Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War. The aim of the task force is to crush the cartels, stop the poison, keep America safe, Hegseth wrote on X. Important stuff. These recent developments suggest that Trump eyeing targets within Venezuela. And I made the prediction on the 1st of October that we are going to engage in a shooting war with Venezuela. We'll see if it turns out to be true. It's been 2 weeks since I made that prediction. I wrote it down. I write those things down when I do that. I made the same prediction on October the 7th. That we're going to have a shooting war with Venezuela, that we're going to go in and go after these drug cartels, and we're going to try to stop them in their tracks. Yes, this part of the program brought to you by Well Connect Geothermal. If you have a well in your yard, man, you are on the clock. You can save a pile of money by putting a Well Connect geothermal system in your house. It does not replace your furnace or your air conditioner. It's an add-on, takes about a day to put in. If you finance the system, the savings you will realize will be more than you pay for the system. All right, that's the way it works. It's a geothermal system using the well in your yard. If you're in the northern United States, Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, New Hampshire, Michigan, wherever you might be, if you have a well in your yard, you can save a pile of money. And by the way, subsidies from the federal government for geothermal systems going away at the end of the year. Now is the time to do it. If you've been wondering about it, go to wellconnectgeo.com. You can learn more about the system, how it works, and find out if you are a good match. If you have propane or heating oil, you can save a ton of money. wellconnectgeo.com. wellconnectgeo.com. Man, save money and get those subsidies before they go away. I'll be right back. All right, back to it now. I just want to pick up a mess in aisle 3. Clean up aisle 3. Clean up aisle 3. I always end up with a pile of extra stuff that sometimes and oftentimes we don't get to because, and a lot of it's interesting. Interesting. For example, here, Senator Mark Harris supporting Kamala Harris to run for president again. Can't make that one up. Supporting Kamala Harris to run for president again because she did so well the first time around, apparently. Listen to this.
Do you think that Kamala Harris would be a strong candidate in 2028?
Candidate? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, she was the nominee last time. I think
you would encourage her to run?
I think she would be incredibly strong.
I apologize. Mark Kelly is the senator from Arizona. My apologies. I think he's jockeying for a VP slot. What do you think? That's what it looked like to me. Maybe he is. Anyhow, do you think Kamala Harris will run again for president? She might. Complete disaster, but she might.
Do you think she'll be more or less drunk on the job?
Thank you for that. I think more. I think more alcohol. Yeah. I think she should go on Joe Rogan hammered. Yeah, don't you? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely should. She should go on Joe Rogan and be absolutely hammered. Let's see, over on PBS, they are predicting a new pandemic. Look, I can make the same prediction. Pandemics happen. Invariably, they happen. And here's the prediction from PBS. Listen.
And then there's the transformative, if I might use that word, experience that we've all had now in year 5 of COVID. So the thought that we won't have another pandemic, I think, is naive at best and just not completely unrealistic at worst. So to rephrase your question, I'm convinced that there will be another pandemic, and that's the reason why we have to be perpetually prepared to prevent the terrible impact of a pandemic.
Anthony Fauci, boys and girls, there he is, Anthony Fauci. Predicting a new pandemic. Look, pandemics happen from time to time. They do. That's the way it is. They come along from time to time, and you have pandemics. Right? So I can make the same prediction. His motives might be different than my own, however. His motives could be significantly different than my own. Speaking of motives that I don't understand, Candace Owens. Candace Owens continues her daily campaign against Israel. By the way, this happened just before the hostages were released. Says America is an occupied nation. America's an occupied nation. Here she is.
Do you think it's normal, by the way, that basically every person who speaks about Israel has to basically say a statement that's like, I don't want to get killed? like literally, you start speaking about it, people are like, Candace, beef up your security. That's not normal. Excuse my language, but that is not normal. Okay, it's not normal that people have to think about their security because, and by the way, it's not normal that then the way that you get comfortable with it is you're like, well, they shot JFK in an open car, so there's not, he's a sitting president. Obviously my security doesn't really matter. If they want me, they're going to get me. That's not a normal thought process to have. We don't have that about any other country in the world except for the one that, took over ours. And that's the truth, okay? We are an occupied nation. And if it's going to take women, having to speak up and say that to make permission, to give permission to men to do the same, then I'm happy to be the first person, okay? I just want to be clear. Anything happens to me, blame the Zionists. 1,000% blame the Zionists. Let that be my parting word.
Do you think she's well? Anthony, do you think she's well?
I don't know.
Yeah, we're an occupied nation. Let's see here. Where else do I want to go today? I look at her and I just go, wow, that's weird. That's just weird. How about this? I got time for this. We're going to jump to bite 14, Anthony. Oh, no, that's not what I called for. I want to go to bite 14. The Chicago war zone explained pretty easy. And I want you to take this in the context of the Democrats absolutely do not want the National Guard to come in and help stop crime in Chicago. Listen.
During the entire Iraq war, there was on average, unfortunately, 435 combat deaths per year. During the Afghanistan war, there was on average 141 combat deaths per year. All tragic. American blood and treasure. Between 2018 and 2022, when Kim Foxx was the state's attorney, the DA in Chicago, there was an average of 660 murders per year. So there are parts of Chicago that are much more dangerous than war zones. And there is no defense to that. And there is a solution. Solutions, but the Democrats have this crime albatross strung around their neck, and they're not willing to rid themselves of it.
See the murder rate? The murder rates are just jaw-dropping. Honestly, jaw-dropping in Chicago. They're not 660, but they're still high. Last time I looked, 1,800 people, 1,800 people have been shot year to date. You can check it out yourself. HeyJackass.com. HeyJackass.com. All right. I'm going to take a break and be back. It is the Steve Gruber Show. We got sports on the way with our good friend Brock Palmbush. We'll be back. Let's check in now with Brock Palmbush in sports.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. 2 Monday Night Football games last night. First, the Atlanta Falcons upset the Buffalo Bills 24-14. Bijan Robinson rushed for 170 yards and a score for the Falcons. Secondly, the Chicago Bears upset the Washington Commanders on the road 25-24. Jake Moody hit a 38-yard field goal as time ran out to give the Bears the win. Also in the NFL, the Tennessee Titans fired head coach Brian Callahan after a season and a half on the job. Assistant Mike McCoy takes over on an interim basis. In the Major League Baseball playoffs, the Seattle Mariners blew out the Toronto Blue Jays 10-3 to take a 2-0 series lead in the American League Championship Series. Game 3 tomorrow night in Seattle. The Los Angeles Dodgers drew first blood in the National League Championship Series, taking Game 1 from Milwaukee on the road 2-1. Game 2 tonight in Milwaukee. And San Diego Padres manager Mike Shildt retired yesterday after just 2 seasons on the job. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
Yeah, said his mental and physical health was destroyed by being a manager, didn't he?
That's just about verbatim what he said. It was a surprise because San Diego was a winning team. Unless he has some other, physical or personal issue that we don't know about.
Yeah, his wife says, "Stop bringing your work home." That's what was going on. Stop bringing your work home.
That may have been the case.
Yeah. What's a manager in Major League Baseball get paid these days?
Oh, what? Somewhere between $5 and $10 million a year.
Yeah. You work 2 years, stack some cash, and say, "Look, my health is more important, my marriage is more important, my family is more, whatever it is." An awakening, that's for sure. Anyhow, good. Really appreciate it, Brock. Thank you for that. If you want to be a manager in baseball, now's your chance. The door is open. The door is open.
There's like 8 manager openings right now, Steve.
Tell you what I wouldn't do. I wouldn't pull a starting pitcher that had, a winning game under his belt to put in a guy to go 15 innings and lose.
Did you see what happened last night with the Dodgers?
No.
Dave Roberts, their manager, left Blake Snell in the game through 8 innings. You know what happened? They won.
Yeah. Gee, Tigers. Throwing it out there.
And a lot of other teams do the same thing, too.
They're all wrong. I'll be back. Jack Morris, did you count his pitches? He didn't care. Take a break. It's the Steve Gruber Show. There's always something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent. Come on, man. We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Well, it sure is. I'm glad to have you on board as we continue another big hour here, the Steve Gruber Show. I'm glad you're here, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom every single day. Who do you want in your foxhole? It's an important consideration that might change from day to day, depending on who you are. Here are three big things you need to know right now. Number one, the Washington Post blasting Mem Danny's free bus proposal. Yeah, free buses for all, so it'll just be a haven for junkies and homeless people. Yeah, you think? Number two, UPS, are they dumping packages coming in from overseas because of customs issues? Yeah, that's what they say. And number three, we're going to continue our cleanup. All right, we're continuing our cleanup. Just some different things, right? Some different things. By the way, this is Anthony went with us to Vegas here. Was that last fall, Anthony? We went to Vegas for...
that was like this spring.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay, whichever it was. Fall, spring, whatever it is. It's all a blur. And Vegas used to be a cheap place, right? I was just there again. Went and saw the Eagles play at the Sphere. Saw Bruno Mars. He was wonderful, actually. But the prices. Vegas used to be a place you could go and, you'd have the buffet, all you could eat. There was a seafood buffet at the Rio. Boy, was it great. I mean, they had everything. Crab legs and shrimp, just piles of it. And for a price that was, pretty decent. Not anymore. Vegas tourism has dropped 11.3% as of June. Occupancy rates falling across Southern Nevada because everything's so expensive there. Used to be a place you could find a great deal, get a hotel room, go to the casino. No, not anymore. And you walk by the tables, $50 minimum, $100 minimum. I'm like, you buy one drink, $15. Just one standard, just a well drink, $15. Come on. And they wonder why it's falling. By the way, the job market there in trouble too. Nevada's unemployment rate is 5.3%, higher than the national average by a point or more. Fewer people working or looking for work, according to the Nevada Department of Employment, Training, and Rehabilitation. Whatever that is. Look, it's a poor job market. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority released a monthly summary of tourism, and they say that the volume from June 25 until June 26 down 11.3%. And that's not to be blamed on anybody except the people there and the prices they charge. The prices they charge. Attendance has dropped almost 11% as well. Hotel performance metrics highlighting the drop in tourism, occupancy rates declining by 6.5%. As a result, revenue per available room plunged nearly 14%. Lower profitability for resorts and hotels. I've got an idea. Lower your damn prices. All right? Lower your damn prices and get back with it. By the way, I just saw this last week. Rite Aid is gone. We saw the Rite Aid stores closing all over America recently. Well, guess what? Rite Aid is no more. At one time, they had 2,000 stores. 2,000. There were Rite Aids, Walgreens, CVS on every corner, and they're gone. And here's the problem with that. Those stores came in and they killed the mom and pop pharmacies, destroyed them. Now, where's your pharmacy? If Rite Aid was your go-to, how far do you have to drive now? It's an important question. I'd like you to answer it. Send me an email. If you are a Rite Aid customer, a Rite Aid just 5 minutes from here went out of business, I think it was last year. Building sits there empty, right? It's a problem. 2,000 stores that came in, changed the landscape of pharmacies for people, and then had a terrible business model and went belly up. That's the polite way to put it, right? It went belly up. Let's see here. The Washington Post. I mean, people are coming out against Ma'am Danny. He wants free stuff for everybody, and now he wants free bus rides for everybody in New York City when he gets elected. He's going to get elected, all right? unless there's a massive, unless Sliwa, the Republican, would exit the race, which he should, and maybe Cuomo, the former governor, would become mayor, which is only marginally better, but at least he's not a communist, outright communist. The editorial board warns that Democratic Socialist candidates' $800 million proposal will invite crime and vandalism and more. The outlet arguing that the Democratic Socialist candidates' promise to eliminate bus fare and make routes more efficient would be wildly expensive for taxpayers, probably $1 billion. Plenty of cities have eliminated bus fares. It always comes with a cost. Olympia, Washington did so in 2020 to avoid having to upgrade their fare card readers, but hiked the local sales tax. That means everybody pays, whether they ride or not. Sure enough, the self-described Democratic Socialist estimates his proposal would cost the city just under $800 million a year, which is $50 million less than what New York spent on the Buffalo Bills stadium. You know. Oh, and that's not all. It's not, said the board. Naturally, that will require a lot more spending. Mamdani has promised to install new dedicated bus lanes across the city and other service upgrades. He also wants more loading zones on city streets to make it quicker for people to get on. So add those costs to the tab as well. It'll be billions. And it'll go bankrupt. The editorial noted that the middle and lower income taxpayers would bear the burden since New York Governor Kathy Hochul has already ruled out raising taxes on high income residents to pay for his agenda. The board also warned that Mamdani's fare-free bus system could invite crime and vandalism. Other free systems have drawn criticism for becoming magnets of crime and vandalism, like Portland, Oregon, where fare-free transit was discontinued in 2012. Why? Because it failed. Like every other prominent communist before him, Mamdani is coming up with old, tired ideas that have failed everywhere they've tried. City-run grocery stores, free bus fares. It'll turn it into a mess. The board added this: quality inevitably declines when a service is offered for free. Vagrants and drug addicts would camp out all day on New York's buses, especially in the winter. Parents would grow afraid to let their children ride alone. Wealthier residents would find another way to get around, but poor New Yorkers who depend on the bus would suffer the most. Of course they do. Those that can least afford it always pay the highest price. Financially, emotionally, physically. In an editorial from June, the board also warned that his candidacy is bad for New York and the Democrat Party. This is going to be the poster child, he is, for fringe Democrat policymakers like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, all of these people. And Bernie Sanders. His candidacy, New Yorkers should be worried that he would lead Gotham back to the bad old days of civic dysfunction, and Democrats should fear that he will discredit their next generation of party leaders, almost all of whom are better than this Democratic socialist. Almost all of whom are better. Yeah, Mamdani. He is going to be a disaster for New York. Bet your bottom dollar. All right? Just cleaning up in aisle 3. I'll take a break and be back. It's the Steve Gruber Show. All right, you're up to get back into it now. My next guest, Michigan State Representative Jamie Thompson, back on the program today, representing the 28th District here in my home state of Michigan. Jamie, nice to see you this morning.
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I'm well. Remind the folks where the 28th is. Who do you represent?
So we are Southern Wayne County and Northern Monroe County. So
All right.
I represent downriver cities such as Taylor, Woodhaven, Brownstown, Flat Rock.
Fair enough. And remember, folks, the Gruber family comes from Monroe County. We dispersed from there. That's why you'll find Gruber Road in Monroe County, Jamie, just so you know.
I remember you telling me that. I did pop by there one day.
There you go. Holy Ghost Lutheran Church. That's the family cemetery. At any rate, you've got something here that caught my attention, which is why we have you on the program. You say the state of Michigan is pushing radical sex education under the pretense of health education. Do tell. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, so what is going on right now is the Michigan Department of Education has introduced a resolution that they are going to be hearing public testimony on today, and they're going to be voting on in November. The Michigan State Board of Education is attempting to remove the sex ed curriculum from where it stands in our curriculum right now over to a health curriculum. The biggest problem with that is here in Michigan, we have state law, legislative law, that says there are guidelines on how we teach our children sex education. Parents have to opt into this, and there is a clear guideline on the transparency that parents know what their children are being taught. They have chosen to go with a health curriculum that is very woke, very much pushing gender ideology, pulling parents away from their children and telling children that their health is autonomous to them at all levels, from kindergarten through K-12 into high school. And this is really bad for Michigan. This is really bad for parental rights. This is not good governance. And there are Supreme Court rulings that directly state they can't do this, yet they think they're going to do it anyway.
So I've always found this interesting. The age of consent in Michigan is 16 to a point, right? It's still a minor, but what we're talking about here is 13-year-olds being taught about sexual activity well before the age of consent. And look, is it really the school's place to do all that? And have we not gotten past this, Jamie, of transgenderism? Have we not gotten the memo? Look, people are not buying this. This is an 80-20 issue. Men and girls sports, 80-20 issue. Men in girls restrooms, 80-20, maybe 90-10, to be honest. Could we stop the nonsense with transgenderism, please? Look, when did you go to high school? Let me ask you this.
In the 90s, early 90s, I graduated in 94.
How many transgender kids were in your class in high school?
0.
Oh, that's the same number that were in my class. Same number that were in Anthony's class. He's in his 20s. This is a new phenomenon. And the only thing that I can attribute it to is social media and propaganda. Look, there were no transgender people when I was in high school, or you, or Anthony, and we're all in different age brackets here, right? I was in the 80s, you were in the 90s, he was in the 2000s, and here we are. There were never any transgender people then, and suddenly they're everywhere. And this sexual dysphoria or whatever is everywhere. It's got to be propaganda. There is no other suitable answer, right or wrong?
Correct. That is my opinion, 100%. And the explicit sexualization of children at a remarkable level and pushing from this propaganda is right down sickening. When Michigan schools are the lowest in the nation, you don't see the Michigan Board of Education introducing a resolution to develop a new curriculum to make sure that our children can read and write and be successful in college and in the trades programs. They want to push social justice, sexualization, masturbation, pulling away from parents, pulling away from the faith of their families. And that is not the job's role or the school's role. That's not government's position when it comes to schools. It should not be that. And my grandchildren this year, for the first time, unfortunately, we moved them over to public school because the Lutheran school, the tuition was just getting too high for us to be able to afford. So I have 3 children in public schools. They're 7, 9, and 11. And I don't want my 11-year-old grandson learning about sexuality and different sexual positions and how to pleasure himself. That is repulsive. And any family, even if you are not of Christian faith, the Muslim community don't want their children taught this. Yet the Michigan Board of Education still seems to think that they can circumvent the law and that they can change this over to the health curriculum, which will be a requirement for graduation.
Yeah. When you hear stories like we all do of parents who say, well, my 3-year-old, I knew when the child was 3 that they were transgender. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And that's nonsense. A 3-year-old. I mean, that to me, we could take it a step further. I would call that child abuse. You start sexualizing a child and their sexual proclivities at the age of 3 or 4 or 5. Come on. There's something just morally corrupt and bankrupt about that, isn't there?
Absolutely, Steve. When we keep telling people, leave our children alone and just let them be kids.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have to be about their sexualization and their attraction to other people. If little girls want to play with trucks, that's fine. If little boys want to play Barbies with their sisters, that's fine. Let them just be kids. Let's get back to the basics. There is no more protection of our children. They are bearing the weight of the world on their shoulders. And as a mom and a grandma and a nurse who has children in public schools right now, I am so upset about this. The state legislature and our Michigan House of Representatives need to be standing out boldly. Just as you said, this is an 80-20, possibly a 90-10 issue that needs way more attention. People need to be going on the Zoom if they can't get in Lansing today. They're going to be taking public comment. You have to check in before 1. Get on Zoom. Listen to the State Board of Education.
Yeah, absolutely. And fight the good fight, Jamie. I appreciate what you're doing there. Standing up for common sense and truth. It's important. Thank you for being here. I got to run, but it's a good topic people need to know about. So, again, thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
There you have it. Look, leave the kids alone, would you please? Just leave the kids alone. I'll be right back. All right, so Howard Stern, you remember Howard Stern, of course. He balks at claims that he went woke. And he mocks people. He mocks people who he says it's not macho to care for others. What's going on here, Anthony? I'm not up on the screen. There I am. You all right in there?
Yes.
Just checking. Stern, Howard Stern, here's the problem with Howard Stern. Howard Stern became what he used to make fun of. Howard Stern used to be raunchy, yes, deviant, yeah, all those things. But he used to be at least interesting because he would go after people. He would go after people and really crush on them because of their ridiculous positions and who they were and the elites. And he has become exactly what he used to make fun of. That's what Howard Stern became. He's a fraud. He's a sellout. And sorry, Howard. If I'm too woke, the world is turned upside down. I mean, the stuff I do and talk about, I don't even know what that means. You don't know what woke means, huh? Well, the rest of us do. We know what woke means. And trust me, Howard, so do you. That's a fact. And he's a sellout. Howard Stern. Here. Let me help you with the Howard Stern. Howard. There. Put you where you belong. Right over there. Circular filing system. Let's see. Coming up, Katie Hyde's going to join me from my news company, Michigan News Source, where she is the assistant news director on top of all the big stories affecting you all over Michigan. And it's soon to be bigger, by the way. Soon to be better. Soon to be stronger. Very exciting. Very exciting. Katie Hyde straight ahead. And then, of course, it's Ivy Watch. Stick around for all of it. Yesterday here on the program, we did basically wall-to-wall coverage of Donald Trump and Israel. Coverage on Real America's Voice began at 2 a.m. We carried it all the way through to the end of the program yesterday. So historic to watch all of those deals being made. President Trump in Israel when hostages were released, then flying to Egypt to witness the signing of those documents. And what's remarkable, one of the most outspoken, in fact, I believe she's Palestinian. Rashida Tlaib, right? She's Palestinian, if I'm not mistaken. Not a peep Crickets. Joining me now, Katie Hyde, the Michigan News Source Assistant News Director. Katie, nice to have you back on the program.
Thank you, and I'm glad you did wall-to-wall coverage because it was certainly deserving.
It is deserving. Today I saw, I couldn't believe it. I woke up, you read the headlines when you get up to do the program. Joe Biden and Antony Blinken taking credit for the Gaza deal. I'm like, really?
And Hillary Clinton. Oh, no, they took credit, but I'm saying, sorry, I spoke too soon. Yeah, there were some people taking credit for it. I don't know how you look at the news that's come out and give anyone credit other than President Donald Trump, for sure.
Yeah, in his team, Steve Witkoff, Marco Rubio, all of the folks in his inner circle that made that happen. Anyhow, Rashida Tlaib, where is she?
Yeah, paging progressive politicians, right? Where are they? And she is a Palestinian. She's the only Palestinian member of Congress. Rashida Tlaib has been extremely outspoken about what she calls the atrocity in Gaza and the warring that has affected her community. But the facts also show, Steve, that she's anti-Semitic. She could not even answer a reporter's question 2 years ago when Hamas invaded Israel and took all those hostages. She couldn't even say that she was against Hamas coming in there and murdering Israelis, that she couldn't even make a comment on babies being thrown into ovens in front of their mothers. And she's been radio silent on this historic deal that is good for her people as well. She hasn't said anything. And I went and I checked through this morning as well to make sure that she hadn't said anything, whether through a formal press release or her social media, and nothing. And that gets us to Michigan's leaders as well, if you want to hear what I found on their comments.
Sure, go ahead. Absolutely.
So Attorney General Dana Nessel, she's the top law enforcement officer in this state, and she's a Jewish woman. Nothing. I didn't find anything officially from her office or on her social media accounts attributing this great win to President Donald Trump, or even acknowledging that this has happened for these people. So she has been silent on that. She has not been silent on the fact that she might bring yet another lawsuit. She's brought dozens against the Trump administration because she doesn't want the National Guard here in Michigan. So she did comment on that. Governor Gretchen Whitmer, I didn't see anything officially from her, whether a press release or on her social media accounts. And she has worked with President Trump. She has been vocal about that. Nothing. She did have a press release on free breakfast and lunch for school kids in Michigan, and she acknowledged Indigenous Peoples Day. Had not received the memo.
Which, by the way, hold on. There is no such thing. There's Columbus Day.
She did not get the memo.
Yeah, Columbus Day. I mean, Donald Trump signed an executive order declaring it Columbus Day. That's true. By the way, back to the deal in Gaza, Bill and Hillary Clinton, they said good job.
Right,
Morning,
and
Joe.
that's where I thought you were going at the beginning. Yes, Hillary Clinton said that, and I thought, oh my goodness, what looking glass have we stepped through?
Hell hath frozen over. Let's see here. Morning, Joe, MSNBC. They said good job. So, I mean, here we are. It's remarkable. They can't say anything positive.
Can we just talk about, I'm so sorry, Steve. Can we just talk about being a human? I don't know how you look at the atrocities that have happened there in the last 2 years, and to watch those reunification videos yesterday and not just have a human reaction to say, what an incredible thing this is, and nothing, silence. I just can't get over that as a member of the human race.
I agree with you on that. All right, let's shift gears. So we'll have to see if they are human or not. Let's shift gears a little bit. Down in Dearborn, 9,000 voters getting a second ballot after in the mail after city officials sent out absentee ballots listing a man who isn't even running for city council. A mistake there. What do you make of that?
Well, they have to correct the error, and they have to do it by November 4th. It looks like they're doing that. So 9,000 ballots isn't anything to just wave off and say it's not a big deal. They've had to mail them out again with a correction, because what happened is they listed a city council candidate on the initial ballot that has dropped out of the race for city council. And so people receiving those would think, he's still on the ballot, perhaps cast a vote for him. The city clerk said, this is a mistake. We're sending it out. You should receive a new ballot that has an update on it in their mailboxes sometime this week. But critics of mail-in voting has said this is yet another problem that this whole early voting, mail-in voting is causing. And so they're trying to correct that error. They've insisted that this is not going to affect the outcome of the election, but I don't know how you make a prediction like that.
Right. All right. And yeah, I don't know either. Last thing is this. Back to Dana Nessel. Preparing for a possible Trump invasion of Michigan. By the way, Rasmussen just released a poll, shows well over half of all Americans support the National Guard going into D.C., going into Chicago, going into Memphis, going into New Orleans, and all these other places that are just crime-ridden, Portland as well. Apparently that memo didn't get through to the state lawmakers at the top of the heap in Michigan either.
A lot of missed memos this week, Steve.
Apparently.
But if you go and you look at videos and news coverage on the interwebs and you sidestep mainstream media, you see the people in Memphis and Chicago saying, thank you, President Trump. We can feel safe in our communities. Crime is getting dealt with. And so to be the top law enforcement officer in a state and say, we're not going to prioritize getting rid of crime, it's just a bad look. And the phrase Trump derangement syndrome gets thrown around. I don't know how you say you're not going to work with an administration to help rid your community, rid your state of crime. It just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. I'm going to check here. I do this fairly often. I'm just going to check my AI news source here just for a quick second. The last time I looked, there had been 13 homicides in Washington, D.C. since August 11th. That is apparently the same. 13 homicides since the 11th of August in Washington, D.C. Annualized, that would be less than 70 a year. There have been less than 70 homicides in Washington, D.C. in my lifetime. What he's done has worked. What he's done, there's been big stretches where there's no murders at all. 13, it's the middle of October. And so that's pretty remarkable that that place has been cleaned up. Same thing in Memphis, like you mentioned. I would take the help here if we could get it. Katie, I'll give you the last word.
Absolutely. You want your constituents to be safe. And if the local police can't handle it, because I think there's a numbers issue and obviously a lot of animosity towards law enforcement in general over the last couple of years, they're short on manpower and they are wanting the help. And so when you don't have enough people to do the job or it isn't getting done because of bad leadership, then that's when the feds step in. So I don't know why anybody would oppose this, but we've got politics at play, evidently.
Politics at play every day. Katie Hyde, MichiganNewsSource.com. You can find her work and other great work as well. MichiganNewsSource.com, my news company. Proud of it, proud of Katie, proud of the work that they do there. Katie, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Great cutting-edge work there. MichiganNewsSource.com. Check that out. And when we come back, Ivy will be here. You should check that out, too. Don't go anywhere. All right, a quick shout out. There's a chill in the air as we've been talking about, and Muskox has the best flannel shirts. If you're in the Lansing, Michigan area, here's something else for you. Firewood, Harper Hill Forestry Products. We just got a load of firewood from these folks. Man, it is great hardwood, cut to length however you want it. If you've got an outside burner, you can have it cut bigger. If you've got we've got a wood-fired sauna. It's the greatest thing in the world. You want to find truth? Sit in 200 degrees for about half an hour. You'll find truth. Ivy will attest to that. Ivy, thank you for being here. By the way, you can find out more 517-927-6036, or just Google under firewood, find Harper Hill. They deliver great wood and for our
great
sauna.
People.
Oh, great people. Just really like them. Harper Hill, find them on Google. Firewood if you need it today, and you do.
Support your local businesses.
Support local. That's what we do. Absolutely. And the sauna, man, we have visions in there sometimes at 200 degrees. It's remarkable.
What are we talking price per cord?
I don't know. Call 517-927-6036 or Google Harper Hill and find firewood, and they'll give you a price.
Yeah.
Come on, Anthony. Some things are secret. All right, Ivy, how are you?
I'm great, Steve. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
It's a great day, isn't it?
Yeah, aren't they all? Some are just better than others.
Yeah. Some days are better than others.
Yeah. All days are great. Some are better than others. That's
absolutely.
just the way that is. But fall is here, your favorite time of the year. Another shout out, if I might, Bob Barkham does a great job there. Hazlet, Michigan, pumpkins and gourds and cider and donuts. I mean, we love going over there.
This is my favorite time of year. What's better than like
special.
hot cider and a cinnamon donut? Hello. And a little, muskox, although I steal yours.
Yeah, you do steal my
But,
muskox.
being in cozy sweater weather and say that 10 times fast. And boots. It's just my favorite time of year. Although, we're in Michigan, of course. If you're in Florida, it's still beautiful weather, but still pretty hot, I think.
Well, it gets cool down there. I would suggest muskox, by the way, for flannel, good anywhere in the country for the most part. Maybe not Florida, but everywhere else it gets cool. You get fall, you get winter, right?
Oh yeah, they're great.
There you go. I love it.
So I'm cruising on the internet looking at what people have to say.
Oh, I know. I watch you. I see what you're up to.
Yeah. Historic day, obviously, with this.
Yesterday, yeah.
Signing of this peace deal in the Middle East and a hope for peace and prosperity in that region. But why is it that those on the radical left
are so hateful?
They're like, free Palestine, free Palestine, free Palestine. And then now I think secretly they would hope for failure.
Of course they do.
Because Trump brought this to the table. And that's
No.
really
If
unfortunate.
you're online, you clearly saw that Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken, the former Secretary of State, are taking credit for the deal in Gaza themselves. Joe Biden and Anthony Blinken have the gall, gall to take credit for the deal that was orchestrated and willed to happen, I think is a good way to put it, because Donald
There
Trump...
would have been no bringing this to the table if it was Biden or Kamala Harris, because they are considered a laughingstock in the world.
Yeah.
And they don't have any spine. They don't have any strength. Actually, we saw Charlie Kirk speak at a conference. It was a Grant Cardone conference, and he talked about being anti-fragile, and that President Trump is a good example of being anti-fragile. And it takes people like that to lead this world.
It does. It takes strong people that can take adversity, that can accept a level of pain and discomfort.
Absolutely.
That's what it takes.
And being able to have difficult conversations and yet stand strongly in your convictions and your beliefs and standing for the rights of your country. Something that I don't actually think that his predecessors did very well. Especially Barack Obama. And, I kind of think about that. Remember the time, I think it was like 2009, where he met the, Saudi prince, and he was like bowing, and he got a lot of, criticism for that. But I actually want you to hear something. I found this bite of Obama, and Anthony, if you could play that for me, please.
Yeah, we don't want, kangaroo courts and trumped up charges. That's what happens in other places that we used to scold.
Yeah.
For doing that. We want our court system and our Justice Department and our prosecutors to be, and our FBI to be just playing things straight and looking at the facts and not meddling in politics the way we've seen lately.
Did you hear that?
Yes, yeah, I saw that back before.
Meddling in politics.
So when Barack Obama was basically
meeting
allowing
with Brennan.
Oh yeah, and allowing that to happen.
And Clapper.
But you go back before that because they had keys to the back door of social media companies. They could silence people, deplatform people, cancel people.
Silence
Anybody they
them.
didn't like, they would just.
Or the IRS on conservative groups or
nonprofits were denied under his tenure. Absolutely true. It's just such garbage. Most presidents, in fact, all in my lifetime, go away after they serve. He bought a house in Washington. He sits right there and stirs the pot and meddles and pokes and prods because when he said we're going to fundamentally change America, he meant it. And he has not given up on fundamentally changing America, and not for the better, I would say.
Yeah, what is that book, The Post-American World?
Yeah.
He was seen and photographed reading that book, and actually it was one of the books that I had to read in college. And it was kind of during this time where all of the manufacturing was being offshored because of the policies that had been put into place. NAFTA and other things like that. But when you begin to look at how this occurred, where we are today, with China and India being big powerhouses in terms of manufacturing, China more so than for India, but in terms of pharmaceuticals, India is actually up there too. We did it to ourselves in that the leaders of this country did it to us. And I think that, Trump's really the president's really trying to reel that back in and bring manufacturing back, which he has done, trillions of dollars in investments. And that's going to take time to build that infrastructure. But hopefully in the future, we begin to see those gains.
That great big sucking sound you hear is American jobs going to Mexico.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I remember that too from 1992. He was right about that one. Anyhow, Ivy, thank you. Love you.
I love you too, Steve. And choose to be good today.
Choose to be good today. Really? I'm going to be in so much trouble. I'll be right back. By the way, another blue city, and I just learned about this, was taken over by hoodlums. I don't know what else you'd call it. Boston streets taken over by more than 100 people that had the intent of attacking police officers. Happened 2 in the morning, October the 5th. 2 in the morning, October the 5th. 100 people trying to attack police cruisers, fireworks, cones, poles, other items. One police cruiser set on fire, burned to the ground. And here's the worst part. 2 people were arrested. All right, at least 2 were arrested. Flagrant assault on police officers, spinning tires, making noise. Assaulting police officers, creating havoc is unacceptable, says the police union supervisor. Like I said, 2 arrested. Julian Bowers, 18, of Cumberland, Rhode Island, and William Cantwell of Warwick, Rhode Island, charged with assault and battery on a police officer, resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, malicious destruction of property over $1,200. The prosecutors asked for $15,000 for Bowers and $20,000 for Cantwell for bail. They got $500 and $1,000. And they were seen fist bumping in court afterwards. Soft on crime. Soft on crime. This is a failure. It's a failure in Chicago. It is a failure in Portland. It is a failure in this country, and it's a failure in Boston. Law and order. I support the police. I support the police at the local level, the county level, and the state level. Yeah, even when I get a ticket from time to time, which happens, that hasn't happened in a long time. I don't like it, but I'm polite about it because I'm the one that's usually not paying attention to the signs of the posted speed limit. Okay, so there we go. I support the police. You should as well. Law and order and public safety. Number one. Number one. Fight the good fight. Keep the faith, my friends. God bless America. Remember, together we can save this great country of ours. We can. All right, so keep the faith. Work harder. Be better. And do good today. Is that what Ivy said? Do good today? I appreciate that. We'll talk soon.